So you're welcome to this webinar. This is our Community Development Grants monthly learning series for the Community Development Grants. And today we'll be discussing about a very important topic that everybody keeps struggling with, that is the sustainability, and why we need to start the project with the sustainability in our mind, why sustainability is more important in our project operation. And this and more will be alluding to in details as we go through this webinar. So our topic today is starting with the project sustainability. My name is Bonimark Alinga, and the Community Development Grants Coordinator for the Wells Mountain Initiative. Our learning objectives, number one, we'll be doing introduction to the topic that we have just had, and we'll look into the components of the project sustainability. We'll dive into the 5 C's of sustainability as described by Waldens. We'll also look into why is sustainability important. And as we look into that, we'll also look at why should we start with the project sustainability? What are some of the steps that we should be looking forward into the project sustainability? Then we shall have some take-home. And this take-home will lead us into the Q&A. And as we continue with this conversation, I would like to introduce you to our Q&A section that you will be dropping in your question. You may not wait until the end of this webinar, then you start to generate a question. Should any question come into mind, please type them down, drop it in the Q&A section, and I will be picking it up at the very end of this conversation. So moving forward to our introduction, what is sustainability in our understanding? Various people, various scholars, Data, one of them, has described sustainability as a means of, generating or doing something without compromising the ability of its future. And looking into that, it continues to say the ability to be maintained at a specific rate or level without necessarily running out of resources. And what is sustainability for the Wells Mountain Initiative? For us, in the Wells Mountain Initiative or Community Development Grants Department, we define sustainability as a means of providing long-term solutions to community problems that the scholars themselves are involved and the community members can support after the grant funding has ended. So that is what we look at as sustainability plan, or as a definition of sustainability in WMI. And therefore, the sustainability is the ability of something being good or of good quality and being able to continue over a period of time without necessarily running out of resources and drying up. Resources may be in terms of a human resource, finance, materials, name them. So a very wide range of resources that we are talking about here, including the community involvement in your project or in the lifetime of your project or initiative as well. So what are some of the components of project sustainability? One of the components of the project sustainability, as fed in by data, is economic growth. The sustainability of a project is dependent on the economic growth side of things. And this has 2 elements. It has the ability to create credit, to keep buying things and processing of the resources that you have, to continue with economic flow. And that is one component of the project sustainability. The second component is the environment. The environment here cuts across various elements, and it includes the harvest, the pollution, the creation, and the non-renewable energies that we continue talking about, and that can also continue indefinitely in other atmosphere. And this plays a pivotal role in the sustainability of your project. When you avoid the environment, you're using renewable energy resources without, ensuring that it is not completely depleted. You are not focusing on the population creation or the pollution creation, and also not involving not being mindful of how I utilize the environment for my project sustainability, then our project is bound to fail, because we would have not thought through how this project will affect our environment, how we will utilize the environment to influence our project sustainability. And the third important component, and perhaps the most pivotal also, is the social sustainability of a project. Now, social sustainability includes the aspect of satisfaction of basic needs, equal opportunities, human rights, labor rights, social responsibility, community development, and involvement. So when you miss out this component in your project, then you risk losing your project. You may have all the two, and the third one is not there. All the three components goes hand in hand. They are intertwined. Without economic growth, you cannot progress to the environment. Without environment, the economic growth cannot be sustained. Without growth, without economic environment, then you lack the social. The project will not be sustaining. And so you need to dive in, play around with this, try to focus on identifying these elements in your project, even before you start going deep into your project write-up and planning. So what are the 5 C's of sustainability? Sorry. We talked about consciousness. We talk about community. We talk about conservation. We talked about culture. We talked about commerce. And consciousness comes from the deep interconnection of what we want to do versus the conscience of the beneficiaries and the entire local leadership. Are we conscious about how the project will impact their lives? Will it be positive? Will it be negative? Will it cause some change in their lives? What will that cause be? Look at the conservation. If we utilize this, what are its relevant or the likely impact that would cause into our environment? Will the community buy in? How about the culture? Will the culture blend with my project? Or is it culturally valuable that it will not be, another form of culture talk to other people? Or will it be a problem, and will the community shun away from it because it does not match with the culture? So we need to think about all these 5 C's of project sustainability. Then the commerce bit of it. Of course, everything rotates around the money. If I'm doing this and I'm not making money to buy more, to continue with the consistency in the project, then I'm bound to fail, because it is the cash flow that makes the project to sustain. I have to look beyond just doing a project. I have to look beyond just implementing a project. I have to look into those nitty-gritties. How will this be revolving? And how will the community play in? How will the culture play in to ensure that my project is self-sustaining? So all these 5 C's are interconnected, and you cannot do without one of them. So each one of them optimizes another one for impact. Culture optimizes commerce and community and conservation and consciousness to thrive. Commerce looks the consciousness, conservation, community, and culture to thrive. So because without community, culture, and conservation and consciousness, there is no commerce. So all these 5 C's goes hand in hand. So when you're thinking about that project, some of you are now in the process of, you have submitted your round 2 project proposal and design a review. You start to reflect, I'm going to do this specific activity. How is it going to generate for me money? How will the community get involved? Will it even be culturally appropriate? Will it build some consciousness within the mind of the beneficiary? So we have to look into that. And so that brings us to why the project sustainability is important. One of the very much important aspect of the project sustainability and why it is important is that once you have thought about the sustainability of the project, you have the institutional sustainability. Take, for example, you're running a football club and it's not constituted, you don't have a management team, you don't have a coaching team, you don't have people who are the technical people who are running back and forth, the marketing department, the brand department, all these departments, the institutional stability comes in hand with this. So you need project sustainability to be able to institutionally have your project be stable. Then continued operation and maintenance of the project facility. Imagine you did not think through how the project will be sustaining. You're bound to have operational costs, you're bound to have maintenance cost, and this maintenance cost, once not planned for, not forecast, not thought through, your project is bound to have problems. Thirdly is the continuous flow of the net benefits. Every sustainable project has got a cash flow benefits. So you look at that. Well, one will say, I'm running an NGO, but you need a cash flow benefits on that. So you cannot run an NGO and be a successful NGO without thinking, how will I continuously get funding to run my activities? So you need to have this continuous flow of the net profits. How are you going to rally the donors? How are you going to have creativity in a sense that other people can buy in and give contributions towards the sustainability, the business arm of the NGO part of it? Just for example, the maintenance of environmental sustainability, very key. You need this. The equitable sharing and distribution of project benefits. So these are things that we need. Why we need the sustainability plan? We need to plan through equitable sharing and how the whole activity will be distributed. If I'm running NGO giving scholarship, how will I run the scholarship program? How will I run the grant program? How will I run the business arm of the entity? Equitable sharing and distribution of the project benefits. Who benefits what? How will they benefit? And who will bring forth additional resources to that? Continued community participation. I mentioned this and it's very pertinent. Why project sustainability is important? Because it allows the community to continuously participate and gets involved in the life and time of the project. So that with or without you, the project is continuing to grow. With or without you, there is something running. Doesn't mean when you're not there, the project must stop. Doesn't mean if you're not there, nothing happens. When the community are continuously involved in your business, you get more and become self-sustaining. Then long-term resilience. There's nothing that thrives without having to be resilient, having planned your sustainability well. So you need to be resilient. For the project to be resilient, you must identify all the avenues, all the areas, all the sources of how the project will be sustaining itself, how you will build an institutional base how you will build the operation and maintenance, and how it will benefit the facilities, how the net flow will flow. All these just leads you to the seventh point of long-term resilience. So we actually need sustainability of a project more than the project itself, because if we don't think through this, then we will going to be writing stories and our project will be bound to fail and bound to just live a short-term life. I'm talking about this only for those who look forward to a long-term project, not those who are doing one-time events. One-time events, we don't look at the sustainability because it's one-off. But if you're looking at a long-term plan, 12 months, 1 year, 12, 2 years, looking at 50 years to come, then you need a project that has a sustainability plan. So why is then sustainability very important, and why should I start with the sustainability? Is it a question that lingers your mind mostly? Are you trying to think about this? Are you trying to craft some idea? And why should you start with sustainability? Wow. You start with sustainability because you need acceptability of your project, of your initiative, what you're going to do. Will it be acceptable? Will people actually accept it? Will the community accept it? Will it build solutions? Will it be a community solutions? Will it build strength and align with the community local values? So you need to think about this. Sustainability starts with acceptability. Sustainability starts with adaptability of a project. Is the project adaptable to itself? And will it be efficiently fast enough to, thrive through the prevailing circumstances within your community? Maybe, maybe not. But you need to think about that. Will it be open and able to fit in my changing environment or part of the system that I'm trying to work on? You need this so that you think through before you start to generate a project idea. When you conceive an idea, look at all this: acceptability, adaptability, and now look at auditability of a project. Now, a project which is going for long term, you need to have the evaluation plan, the personnel, the system, the process, the enterprise, the project itself, the products, services that you're going to do to ensure you are auditing the project itself. How will it be? What are the evaluation processes that you will be undertaking to ensure the auditability of your project? I guess you're learning something from this. What about implementability of your project? Because yes, you have the project idea, but you do not have the implementability. You have not thought through, how will I even? Yes, the project is adaptable, the project is auditable, the project is acceptable, but how will I implement it? You have no idea. So you need to look at this and be more realistic, do feasibility study. Is it attainable? Above all, is it implementable in that order to fit for it to be sustainable? Sometimes we rush with the ideas, we get fancy ideas, we get fancy thoughts. Before you realize it, we are here, we are there, and we don't know where to begin from and how to implement them. So we need to go intensively and think about this before we dive into other things, other components of your project itself. Scalability. Every sustainable project, look through the scalability. How will I scale it up from this level to level B, to level C, to level E, up to Z? How? Now, scalability of that project deals with the ability of the project to accommodate and have the capacity to expand beyond the scope. As they grow, as the project grows, you must be thinking aloud, focusing ahead, envisioning that should I reach this level, this is how I'm going to go far with my project. This is how I will scale it up to, meet the unforeseen circumstances. So think through the scalability of the project before even you go far to diving into several words and several factors. Think about its scalability and extensibility of the project, the ability to extend the project throughout or create additional functions within the project, modification of the project, or even minimizing the existing function to accommodate something new in that project. So look through this and think about it as you start a project. These sustainability items should be flowing into your mind and trying to identify them and saying, does it work for me? Can this work for this project? If I hit this, will it reach far? Can I extend it? Will it be moderate? Will it be flexible to accommodate some modification, or it will be static? Sometimes we get into a situation where we can't move. We're already there. And we cannot get out, we cannot get in, and we end up crashing. So let's think about that. Last but not least, is the project maintainable? So we're looking at the maintainability of the project itself. Now, a project is sustainable when the defects can be corrected. It is sustainable when it can meet the new requirements, if the future can be maintained, and if it is easier or the scope can change with the prevailing circumstances or the changing environment. That's when we'll look at the maintainability of the project. So when we think of a project, we should look at the maintainability. How will it be? Then when we look at that, we look at the manageability. How will I manage the project? What are some of the resources that will be required? What are some of the systems that I need to put in place? What are some of the facilities that I need to ensure the project runs more successfully? So it's a question that we need to think through as we look into the project sustainability. But quickly, let us look into the few steps, 6 steps to project sustainability. Step number 1, if you want your project to be sustainable, start with the community. Identify the need and develop solutions that builds on the community strength and aligns with the local values and culture. When we ignore this, then we hit the snag. Number 2, encourage local ownership. Now, local ownership in a sense that you're identifying key community members who can help pioneer the idea and bring lasting improvement into your into your project. So that will give you a kickstart to your sustainability. Because all those other components, you will be engaging them to actually bring the optional solutions to those problems or those ideas. Then provide training, because you're dealing with human resources, you need to provide trainings. Every successful project depends on the people, and the people who are knowledgeable on how it will go, how the vision bearer wants the vision to be realized, how the operation will align with the project success. So you need to train, and provide training. Most oftentimes, we think by importing products would be more placed in better position to have a project with resources which perhaps having a value of being imported. But look at the local and buy local. You'll save and perhaps get genuine and stronger products. Maybe sometimes we're talking about equipment, but the way we can go around this, try to use the local resources to get this. And if you buy from local sources, the chances are that you will save money, which you would have perhaps misused in the process or lost in the process of trying to import a product that perhaps you have no idea of how to go around it. But if you get from the local sources, you are reducing first on several taxes that comes along with product importation and reducing the project expenses. Then find local funding also as part of your project. Now, for example, government. You're running a school, government gives you books, government gives you a few other resources. You're running a hospital, medical camp, regular hospital checkups. There are things that we get from the partner established hospitals or established schools or established companies that would supplement our ideas. Imagine you want to run a small clinic, but you need a referral. So you can partner with a hospital to have the ambulance available for you, easy referrals, accept your referrals quite quickly to provide a service, and in turn it will is sustaining your own project, but also, promoting your project, building confidence in your project. The clients or the beneficiaries, the patrons are saying, well, if we get here for this project, for this clinic, for them, they have direct connection to the referrals. And therefore, if the situation worsens, they have ambulance just a call away, and they make quick referrals, and the referral hospitals attends to us quite quickly. We try to source this local funding and local partners. Build measurable success for your project. Develop a clear, measurable outcome and determine how you will collect the data. Am I running a facility of a medical in nature? How many clients seen on a daily basis? How many are going through malaria treatment or checkups? How many attending my lab? How many women, how many men, how many children? Get a clear or develop a clear, measurable project outcomes to determine how you're going to develop your success, project success, because project success are written on the data that are generated from the services being provided. So, some takeaway, and I know we have learned, and if you have been having questions, I would request that you start utilizing our Q&A section or even post directly onto our chat room, and I'll be responding to that. So if you have not got anything out of the conversation that I've run through for the last couple of slides, then don't forget that sustainability is therefore an holistic approach that considers ecological, social, economic dimensions, recognizing that all must be viewed together to find lasting and long-term project prosperity. I said, if you've forgotten all what I've talked about in the previous slides, just know, for any sustainability, we must have a holistic approach. They should consider ecological. It must consider social. They must consider economic dimension, and must recognize that all this plays a pivotal role in finding lasting and long-term solutions and sustainability of your initiative. So let's think about that. If you learn something, if you want to ask any question in regards to this, utilize our Q&A section. You can give a comment, whether you like it. If the topic has been useful to you, still you can as well put a comment there, and I will be responding to that. So thank you very much for listening to me. And starting with sustainability should be our thing, and we should be thinking about it at all times as we think of a new initiative. And let me pick up a few questions that you people are having. Thank you for this exposure. My regards. Thank you. Another one said, thanks. The presentation is loud and clear. Thank you for enlightenment. So I seem not to be having any question now. and assuming this has pretty gone well with us. And I want to thank you. If you have any questions, you can still have a moment and drop it there, and I will be glad to respond to it. Otherwise, thank you from the Community Development Grants Department for joining the learning series. And we will be having in our next episode of the learning series for the month of July, we'll be having a series of people coming to talk about their successful projects. Some of the CDGs awardees who implemented successful projects and they're doing great. And we'll be having them in our webinar next month. So thank you so much for being there and learning with us as we move step by step, step by step. Somebody has asked a question. Can I get the presentation? Well, yes, I can share the presentation with all the attendees, but also this recording will be available on the WMI YouTube channel for future references. And I will be sharing the recording itself also with you on the email. So watch out for the follow-up emails will come with this presentation and also with a video. So thank you very much. Let me see another question coming in. Is there any additional information you could add for those doing projects in violence-ravaged areas? My second question is there any additional information you could add for those doing projects in violence-ravaged areas? Assuming meaning the war-torn region? Yes. Well, for every project to be sustainable and for those struggling in a war zone or a civil war area where stability is a problem, well, of course, we had this a couple of times, we identify a project that are bringing solutions fast. And this project can be two-way. I have had of an experience of an ambulance service that was serving both the rebel group, no matter whether the beneficiaries were rebel or not, but this was giving the services. But since the community did not understand, the other part, the other rebels thought this is for the government, and they waged war on the project, not knowing that this ambulance was actually to serve both of them, whether you're in the government or you're a rebel group. And this was after realizing that they embraced the project, and while they see the ambulance going, they will not lodge ambush on them. And it turned out to be a win-win situation for both the project, government, and the rebel group, the rebel group that was fighting for their rights. So how can one get direct contact from World Health Organizations and UNESCO for local partnership? I would encourage you to get to their website. I don't think I have specific recommendations, but you would go to their website, try to write a partnership request to them, and they will definitely, if you show, as I told you, it starts with sustainability. If you align your sustainability well, you get your SMART goal well, the chances are that you will have the project support from these organizations. Yeah. Thank you so much. Any other question? Of course, we still have time, but if there are no questions, I will be closing this very pretty soon. Some of this have already been responded to, but thank you very much for joining the webinar today, and I'm grateful that we were able to learn. Thank you for all the beautiful messages. I will share this information after the webinar has ended. So thank you very much. Please, sir, I need a recorded session. I want to start a project, but I don't know how to get about it. Well, this will be shared as I earlier mentioned, and we can still engage with your project idea. We can have a brainstorming session. You can drop me an email and we will talk about it. those ideas, how you want something that you're developing, we can discuss it and see how we can craft an idea and see if how far that can go with you and the project as well. Because at the end of the day, the goal is to transform communities, right? And we need to identify those community challenges, engage with them, and find a solution for them. So we shall. Yes, just get in touch with me and we will try to think through what to do together. Another question, let me check. I think there's one more question here. Let me see, one more question. Okay, I think it's the same. So thank you very much. All have been answered. And I want to thank you very much. Have yourself a very wonderful weekend and looking forward to the next webinar where we share the experience with successful stories, awardees who are doing great with the community development grant supported projects. See you again. Bonnie Mark has been my name, Community Development Grants Coordinator for the World's Mountain Initiative. Bye-bye.